Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. On behalf of the worthy Vice Chancellor, PIDE, and the honorable members of the Research Advisory Committee, we welcome you all to the Rasta PIDE and Planning Commission Competitive Grants 2-day online research training workshop. This workshop will remain for 2 days, today and tomorrow. And this is the quick schedule of 2 days workshop. Basically, we will have the welcome remarks by Dr. Nadeem Javed Tara Imtiaz, who's the Vice Chancellor PIDE. Unfortunately, Professor S.N. Iqbal is traveling to Bangladesh in the oath-taking ceremony of the new Prime Minister. So he's unfortunately not with us at this moment, but maybe tomorrow he will get some time और वो भी हमें online chat join कर सके. So in these 2 days, we will have very productive sessions. We look forward to from Dr. Shandana Khan Mohammed from IDS Sussex. Then we will have a session by Dr. Murtaza Haider. He's a professor at University of Alberta, Canada. आप बहुत सारे लोग इनको जानते होंगे, definitely. Then tomorrow we will have 2 more sessions one by Dr. Ahmed Pirzada on Pakistan's economic landscape, and then a very important session on expectations, standards and evaluations. बहुत सारे लोग हमें सवाल करते हैं कि हमारे जो रिसर्च प्रपोजल्स हैं वो किन बेसिस पे एवेलुएट होते हैं, उस पे क्या ऐसा देखा जाता है जिसके बाद उनको या तो अवार्ड मिलता है या रिजेक्शन का सामना करना पड़ता है. So I'll be leading this session along with some honorable members of the Research Advisory Committee, and we will share some stats, some examples, and we'll tell you कि ऐसी कौन सी reasons हैं जिसकी वजह से आपके ये research shoot down होती है. So overall, the objective is कि अगर we are now into the 8th round of Rasta, and if we see the results, तो जो winning rate है that is below 7%. It means कि 93% जो applications हमारे पास आती हैं वो ultimately unsuccessful रहती हैं. So जो अभी वाइस चांसलर हैं PIDE के डॉक्टर नदीम जावेद, he find it very important कि हम एक ट्रेनिंग वर्कशॉप कराएं. हमने पहले भी एक इंटरैक्टिव सेशन रखा था इस ग्रांट को अनाउंस करने से पहले, और अब रिसर्च आइडियाज के बाद अब हमने डिटेल प्रपोजल से पहले एक और हमने ऑनलाइन रिसर्च ट्रेनिंग रखी है टू inform, to enhance the capability of our researchers and academicians and practitioners जिन्होंने अपना full proposal जमा करवाना है. So basically these are the objectives हमने already आपसे share किए हुए हैं, primarily to strengthen research design capacity to develop high quality policy relevant research proposals. It will help you to define and frame policy problems with clarity. ये बहुत important एक area है कि जो problem under consideration है उसको properly define और frame नहीं किया होता, जिसकी वजह से proposal बहुत vague रह जाते हैं. Then formulation of research questions is the key. As all of you know, कि research question is the central part of the whole research process. तो उसमें रिसर्च क्वेश्चन को कैसे फॉर्मुलेट किया जाता है इसके ऊपर वी विल हैव अ वेरी important session by Dr. Murtaza today after Dr. Shandana, who will help us to look at the policy problems. Then we will have a session about tomorrow by Dr. Ahmed Pirzada on the economic landscape, जिसमें it's very important कि जो भी research हो रही है उसकी public policy and economic relevance हो हमारे policy environment के साथ. So this is another objective कि उसको research को हम contextualize कर सकें, उसको जो हमारे स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं, मिनिस्ट्रीज हैं, सबसे बड़ा स्टेक होल्डर हमारा तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान है और प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट्स हैं, वो उनको यूज कर सके. एंड फाइनली एज आई सेड We would like to promote evidence-based and methodologically sound research approaches through, knowing policy, practice, and institutional decision making in Pakistan. So this will be the first session, problem definition and policy framing. Then we will have a second session by Dr. Murtaza Haider, asking the right questions, followed by tomorrow, inshallah, at 6 Pakistan time, a talk about Pakistan's economic landscape. And then we will talk about an interactive kind of a session on expectations, standards, and evaluations. So before we start our first session, I would like to invite Dr. Nadeem Javed, Vice Chancellor PIDE, and the Chairman, Research Advisory Committee, Rasta, to give us, some motivation about this program. Sir.
First of all, I would like to welcome all the participants to this very august gathering, though virtually, but hopefully it's going to achieve its objectives, which we have envisaged while designing this training program. So roughly, I think you were telling Fahim कि 1200 लोग हमें join करेंगे, 700 के करीब तो हो चुके हैं, 680. So hope so. We were expecting कि 50% भी आ गए जिन्होंने sign up किया है, तो that would be a great kind of number to go with this because it's sometimes such kind of trainings, particularly after being a good researcher or expecting कि हम अब एक अच्छे researcher बन गए हैं, तो seems like is not needed. But I would say कि on every step, on every stage, we need to refresh our frameworks, we need to refresh our understanding about even what we are doing, and we are very good even if doing that stuff. So that is the context. So I have 5 points to elaborate, taking this discussion forward, which Dr. Fahim has just elaborated on, that what will be those sessions which you are going to attend in the next today and tomorrow. So the first point I would like to say is that research is responsibility, not a ritual or a kind of profession. Even if it's a profession, then it is with a very important sense of responsibility, because when we are just doing research and producing papers, this is one way. Sometimes we do it for our promotion, sometimes we do it just for the sake of earning money, but it is at the day end, it is about solving the problem. If our research is not solving any problem, so then it's of no use, and Pakistan does not suffer from a shortage of reports. You just come and visit the library of the Planning Commission of Pakistan, you will find plethora of reports and documents, but unfortunately there is a implementation gap. And when we say implementation gap, it's not just because the bureaucracy or the technocracy of the country is not willing and interested to go through these documents and these research articles which universities and researchers are producing. Rather, most of the time, these documents are presenting half-baked solutions, which are not properly galvanized and vetted through the political economy of the country. So, there could be a very good framing of a problem, and there could be a very good solution. But if that solution altogether ignores the political economy and does not offer the solution to also navigate that political economy, that's of no use for the government. So here lies this catch, and this is where this training is going to help you particularly. Then the second aspect is that policy relevance is not simplification. And most of the time when we say that your research work is not policy oriented, and then people think that perhaps it should be very simple and it should be just going to give a few lines a solution to the problem which we are having. No, it doesn't mean that it yet requires a very regressive research, but it must answer, these three very important dimensions. The first one is that what is the problem? Then number two, what does it matter now? And why it is important right now to be answered. And then the last and third very important one is that what should government do differently to take this head on? Okay. So if this aspect is missing in our recommendation or in our research, so then it is of no use for the policy circles. And the third one is that the good proposals start with a good question. That's why we have kept this session particularly, that how to frame the question. So weak proposals often very quickly jump onto the methodology, and most of the time when we are talking about methodology, out of 4 papers say that we are going to use mixed method without having clarity why mixed method is needed for that. So, and then those proposals ignore the real policy gap. And most of the time, these proposals are going to replicate the existing literature. That's only you are going to churn out that literature and then going to manufacture another paper out of the literature. So that is the severe problem which we have to overcome. So, but on contrary to this, strong proposals are going to identify a real constraint. Right now, any particular ministry, particular government department, or any particular social dimension of the society is facing. So there we need to offer clarity, first of all, that what this constraint is about and why it exists. And then we should come up with a very feasible solution. And when we say that feasible solution, it should be technically feasible, and as well as its political economy should be addressed. Only then it is going to be feasible, technically and politically. If its feasibility is not on these two parameters, then it's of no use. It could be a good research which we can publish somewhere, but eventually it's not gonna make the way when it comes to really impacting the real lives of the people in this country. And then the fourth dimension is data is power. Now we all know this, but most of the time data is available as well. Most of the time some contradictory information is also available, while making that data controversial. So, but here lies the catch, and it depends that how you are going to frame the question out of that. What is the direction of your framing is the most important aspect. So researchers often focus on techniques, policy, impact, while depends on framing, then communication, and then the clarity of the recommendations which your research is going to offer. And most of the time what happens that our recommendations are not properly vetted by the literature review and then the methodology and discussion part which we have carried out in our research. So that also create most of the time this problem over where we have to overcome in our proposals, in our subsequent research. And then the last point is that the Rasta is not a funding window. It is a reform platform. So please do consider this, request from our side, that most of the people, they think that it is a kind of some research funding platform, and very flashy kind of a research will be automatically funded from this. And I'm receiving many calls from here and there. So that's why we kept the last session over where Dr. Fahim will give you this idea that all selections are purely on merit based. Most of the research advisory committee members are also present in today's session, and we would request them to be also present in the last session tomorrow, so that you can also hear from them. And they are very well established. Either they are bureaucrats, or they have served on a certain level in this country, or where they can give you the better understanding about this whole process. But let me reassure you that all selections of the proposals are made on merit. I or Dr. Fahim have nothing, much to say in that process. We are just one member, just like other members, and we have one vote. But there are roughly 26 votes, and out of 26 votes, a majority votes to be, there for any research proposal, and with certain, understanding that this proposal will be further tweaked to achieve the objectives and goals of this Rasta program. Only then, if the proposer of the idea accept those recommendations of the RAC, we go for the next stage. But this time we have remodeled the whole thing. We came we came up with this idea to have the initial ideas first. So ideas competition, whosoever have been through that process, this training is meant for them. But then subsequently there were many thoughts that why not to invite old research grant programs awardees, and as well as those who have made certain clearance up to certain stages, but they couldn't make it up to that level. And similarly, then in April, we are going to have this conference on exports. So we thought, why not to, those 60 proposals, extended abstracts, which have been accepted in the first blind review, why not also to invite them to this training workshop so that they can also enrich their perspectives to do that research, and subsequently to do any other research if it is going to be meant for policy circles. So with these thoughts, I would like to say that there is a very interesting and very important proverb in Chinese literature that's very close to my heart, that it is 1,000 flowers when bloom, only then spring happens. Okay, so this workshop is just kind of an effort to make 1,000 flowers bloom across Pakistan, and whosoever is sitting anywhere in the far-flung area of even Pakistan, if it is possible for them, and if they can highlight the problem of their socio-economic domain in a way that besides, proposing its solution, so then we will take it forward to the Planning Commission, and will try to, make some impact on that front. If it is policy oriented, if it is it requires some investment in that domain, we will try to channelize the public sector development funds toward that. And if it is some kind of an idea for the policymakers who are sitting in the federal government and they want to do something on that front, so it will be taken to those domains, so that it is going to be properly heard, but eventually passing through all these stages of screening, which are there at the PIDE, through this RAC, and as well as subsequently after RAC in the Planning Commission's platform. So with these thoughts, I would like to hand over this forum again back to Dr. Fahim to take it forward. And hopefully I will try my level best to also attend the last session. Right now I have another meeting to attend. Otherwise I would have stayed for a while, and I will get how I can also benefit from the experts which we have chosen. And we, again, while choosing the experts, we have focused on this aspect that they also know the Pakistan economy and the political economy, besides having international perspective. So hopefully, these 4 hours today and as well as 4 hours tomorrow would be a great learning experience for all of us. Thank you for your kind attention, and back to Fahim.
Yes, sir. Thank you so very much for your very well-versed opening remarks. सर आपकी मौजूदगी में 800 तो क्रॉस हो गए हैं हमारे, सो a big round of applause to all of you, because the biggest ever gathering I have seen was the HEC का जो हुआ था इंटरेक्टिव सेशन, उसमें अराउंड 600 लोग आए थे. So we have registration of more than 1,200 people. So Applause for yourself, mashallah. So 800. So let's start our first session. Let me tell you that you can write your questions in the chat box, and from there we will identify people कि जिनका जो questions हैं उनको हम pick करेंगे, because with raising hands it would not be fair enough कि हम randomly pick करें. So instead of going randomly, we will try to pick the best of the best questions or the most relevant one. We can't say best. उसमें से जो most relevant questions होंगे session से मुताल्लिक वो हम speaker के सामने रखेंगे. And I'm getting lots of question about कि recording क्या share होगी आपके साथ. तो जी बिल्कुल recording हम share करेंगे आपके साथ, but ज़रूरी ये होगा आपके लिए कि आप अगर इन sessions को attend करें, इंस्टेड के आप बैठ जाएं कि चलें जी रिकॉर्डिंग तो आ जाएगी हमारे पास, जस्ट टू मेक इट मोर इंटरेक्टिव, ठीक है ना, ताकि आप लिख सकें. ये ना हो कि आप जब रिकॉर्डिंग देख रहे हों और उस टाइम आप देखें कि जी ये क्वेश्चन मैं अगर पूछ लेता उस सेशन में तो मेरी चीजें आंसर हो जाती. सो टेक द अपॉर्चुनिटी live in these sessions, meet these exceptional experts which we are bringing to you. So let's start with our first session about problem definition and policy framing by Dr. Shandana Khan Mohammed. She is Senior Research Fellow at IDS Sussex, UK. Ji, madam, please, over to you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. एवरीबडी, बहुत खुशी हुई कि इतने सारे लोग हैं. मैं भी वो पार्टिसिपेंट्स का नंबर देख रही थी, एंड दिस इज रियली वेरी एक्साइटिंग. सो आई विल जंप स्ट्रेट इन. लेट मी फर्स्ट try and share my screen and get these slides up and have you tell me that everybody can see them properly. ये visible हैं?
जी मैम, visible हैं.
Perfect. Okay.
Slideshow.
तो आज जब मुझे इनवाइट किया गया इस सेशन के लिए, तो मैंने बैठ के ये सोचा कि ऐसी कौन सी चीज़ें मैंने अपने एक्सपीरियंस से सीखी हैं जो कि मैं औरों तक, जो कि अभी शायद अपनी रिसर्च जर्नी पे बिल्कुल सफ़र पे बिल्कुल शुरू कर रहे होंगे, या ऐसे जो कि बहुत देर से रिसर्च कर रहे हैं, लेकिन शायद उनकी भी किसी तरह से वो एक्सपर्टीज़ कंसोलिडेट हो सके. तो मैंने बैठ के सोचा अपने मैं कोई 30 साल से पढ़ रही हूँ, कुछ 20 साल से पढ़ा रही हूँ, और ये सारा अरसा जो है मैं डेवलपमेंट स्टडीज़ पर ही फोकस करती रही हूँ, जिसका सारा रुझान जो है वो पॉलिसी पे है. सो मेरा जो इतने अरसे का काम है उसका सारा फोकस है ऑन हाउ कैन वी हेल्प चेंज थिंग्स. तो उसको कंसोलिडेट करते हुए मैंने सोचा कि कुछ 3 पॉइंट्स हैं शायद जो कि मैं आप सब तक पहुंचाना चाहती हूँ. तो इसको बिल्कुल सिंपल रखेंगे, एंड आई एम होपिंग दैट एट द एंड ऑफ माय 40 मिनट्स आई विल हैव पुट अक्रॉस टू यू 3 वेरी सिंपल आइडियाज़. और मैं माजरत ख्वाह हूँ कि मैं पढ़ाती अब अंग्रेज़ी में हूँ, क्योंकि इंग्लैंड में पढ़ाती हूँ, ज़्यादातर अंग्रेज़ी में ही सब कुछ होता है, तो काफ़ी हद तक ये भी अंग्रेज़ी में होगा, लेकिन जिस हद तक हो सके उसको मैं साथ-साथ एक्सप्लेन करती रहूँगी, sort of in more everyday language between English and Urdu. तो 3 बेसिक आइडियाज़ हैं, या जिसको मैं सोच रही हूँ एक शिफ्ट की तरह से हम उसको सोचें कि अगर मैंने अपने काम में किसी तरह का शिफ्ट लाना है, जिसकी वजह से मेरा रिसर्च, मेरी तहकीक ज़्यादा इम्पैक्टफुल हो सके, ज़्यादा सक्सेसफुल हो सके, तो वो क्या होगा. और वो 3 शिफ्ट्स, अगेन लाइक आई सेड, बोरोइंग फ्रॉम माय ओन एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ थिंग्स, इज़ फर्स्ट कि हम टॉपिक, द एरिया ऑफ टॉपिक डेफिनेशन से फौरन हट के सोचें प्रॉब्लम डेफिनेशन के बारे में. वी वांट टू बी इन अ स्पेस वेयर वी इमेजिन प्रॉब्लम्स एंड डिफाइन प्रॉब्लम्स, और किस प्रॉब्लम को हम सॉल्व करना चाहते हैं, किस मसले का हम हल ढूंढ रहे हैं. तो दैट इमीडिएटली चेंजेस द वे वी approach the world, the way we approach our research. तो ये ज़्यादा एक, जिसको मैं कहूँगी, intuitive approach है for a more policy oriented world and a more policy oriented research. तो एक इसके बारे में हम बात करेंगे कि मेरा मतलब क्या है जब मैं कहती हूँ कि आप टॉपिक के बारे में सोचना छोड़ दें और आप फौरन एक प्रॉब्लम और एक चैलेंज और उसको हल करने के बारे में सोचें. दूसरा जो इस लेक्चर का एक हिस्सा होगा, वो होगा थिंकिंग अबाउट द लॉजिक ऑफ माय इंक्वायरी. व्हाट इज इट दैट आई वांट टू फाइंड आउट, रादर देन थिंकिंग अबाउट माय मेथड. और मैं आपसे ये आपके लिए मेरी जो आर्ग्यूमेंट है यहाँ पर वो ये होगी कि हम जो हैं पॉलिसी के बारे में जब सोचते हैं तो एक मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी, एक मल्टी मेथड और एक इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच रखें तो वो ज़्यादा इफ़ेक्टिव होता है और उसके थ्रू जो हमें जवाब मिलते हैं, जो हमारी आर्ग्यूमेंट्स आगे आती हैं, वो भी ज़्यादा इफ़ेक्टिव होती हैं। तीसरा जो हिस्सा है जिस पे मैं फ़ोकस करूँगी आज के लेक्चर में, वो है to move away from simply describing our problem to finding the solutions. तो एक तो हम टॉपिक से प्रॉब्लम पे जा रहे हैं लेकिन प्रॉब्लम को मैं डिस्क्राइब नहीं करना चाह रही, मैं उसका एक सोल्यूशन, एक हल ढूंढना चाह रही हूँ और यहाँ पर हम थोड़ी सी बात करेंगे अबाउट डिस्क्रिप्टिव वर्सेस कॉजल रिसर्च। तो ये आज के अगले 40 मिनट के 3 हिस्से हैं एंड आई विल टेक यू थ्रू ईच वन ऑफ दीज इन सम डिटेल। सबसे पहले जो एक लफ्ज़ है जिसको हम सबको अडॉप्ट करना चाहिए है वो है to think about research design, not to think about methods, not to think about projects or topics, but to think about design. Research का जो design है उससे मेरा क्या मतलब है और इसको आगे जाके मैं थोड़ा और explain करूँगी, लेकिन यहाँ पर I just wanted to bring you back to that idea that what we're really interested in is to borrow from all disciplines, from all methods, and be able to bring it together in an integrated, intuitive manner, जिसके through मैं फरक disciplines, फरक areas, policy problems से कुछ inspiration हासिल करके एक ऐसा design बना सकूं जो कि मुझे मेरे जवाब तक पहुंचा सके। So इसको usually मैं अपनी teaching में कहती हूँ is to बहुत सादा तरीके से अगर आप इसके बारे में सोचना चाहें तो दैट विल बी द क्वेश्चन ऑफ मी आस्किंग यू हाउ डू यू नो दैट। जब आप मुझे बताते हैं कि मेरा कुछ रिसर्च है या उसके थ्रू हमने ये पता किया या उसके थ्रू हमें ये इस तरह के जवाब मिले, तो द मेन थिंग दैट आई वुड वांट टू फाइंड आउट फ्रॉम यू इज हाउ डू यू नो दैट, आप इस जवाब तक पहुंचे किस तरह। तो इसको हम कहेंगे क्वेश्चन ड्रिवन रिसर्च, जो कि एक रिसर्च डिजाइन के जरिए एक जवाब तक पहुंचता है। तो इफ यू वांट टू अडॉप्ट दैट क्वेश्चन, यू वांट टू आस्क योरसेल्फ हाउ विल आई नो दैट, मेरे पास एक टॉपिक है, इसके बारे में अब मैं क्या कहूंगी। तो उसके लिए 3 किस्म के सवाल आगे और भी यूजफुल हो सकते हैं। एक है What do you want to find out? वो ऐसी क्या चीज़ है जिसके बारे में आप मालूमात हासिल करना चाह रहे हैं। तो वो सवाल के तौर पे अब वो हमारा रिसर्च क्वेश्चन बन जाता है। Simply put, a research question is what is it that you want to find out? And I will get into this in a little bit more detail soon. Second, how are you going to find that out? यहाँ पर हमारी methods आ जाती हैं। वो कौन सी तरीकेकार है जिसके थ्रू मैं इस सवाल के जवाब तक पहुंच पाऊंगी। And finally, how will you know whether your answer is credible? और ये सबसे बड़ा इशू है हम जैसे रिसर्चर्स के लिए कि मैं सवाल भी पूछ लूंगी, मैं उसका जवाब भी दे दूंगी, लेकिन लोग उस पर यकीन क्यों करेंगे और लोगों के लिए उसको मैं credible किस तरह बनाऊंगी। तो that is a world of not just method but also evidence. So much of the research we do is about the evidence we bring to bear to create the arguments that we make in our research. और evidence के बगैर वो story मुकम्मल नहीं है। शायद एक theoretical दुनिया में वो मुकम्मल हो सके, लेकिन जिस दुनिया में आप सब के साथ हम सब रहते हैं, यानी कि पॉलिसी की दुनिया, वो दुनिया जो कि अभी नदीम साहब ने कहा कि जिसके थ्रू हम पाकिस्तान में रिफॉर्म लाना चाह रहे हैं, तरीक़ेकार बदलना चाह रहे हैं, इंस्टीट्यूशंस को पुख्ता करना चाह रहे हैं, इन सब के लिए जो इस सारी दुनिया में evidence is absolutely important to not just give an answer but to show how that answer is credible और किस किस्म की डेटा और एविडेंस के थ्रू हम उसको उस जवाब तक पहुंचे हैं। इस सब को रिसर्च डिजाइन को मैं यूजुअली पढ़ाती हूँ एज स्ट्रैटेजी। मेरी एक स्ट्रैटेजी है। मेरी रिसर्च डिजाइन में सिर्फ ये एक प्रोजेक्ट नहीं है, टॉपिक नहीं है, पेपर नहीं है, सवाल नहीं है, ये मेरी स्ट्रैटेजी है। मैंने एक स्ट्रैटेजी बनानी है जिसके जरिए मैं अपने सवाल के जवाब तक पहुंच सकूं। तो ये एक मेरे लिए जो है this created a big shift in the way how I did my research, कि आप उन सारी टेक्निकलिटीज से, उन सारी सब हेडिंग से हट के बैठ के सिर्फ ये सोचें कि अगर मैंने एक सवाल इस टॉपिक के बारे में पूछना है, तो उसके इर्द-गिर्द मेरी स्ट्रैटेजी क्या होगी? और मैं उस स्ट्रैटेजी को किस तरह इस्तेमाल कर सकती हूँ। तो यहाँ पर आई वुड लाइक यू ऑल टू नाउ कीप दिस वर्ड इन माइंड, और इसके बाद हम जो भी देखेंगे, वो इस लफ्ज़ के ज़रिए ही देखेंगे। स्ट्रैटेजी मेरी क्या है और इस स्ट्रैटेजी के ज़रिए मैं क्या हासिल कर सकती हूँ। So, coming to that idea of trying to drive this as problems rather than topics. Topic की दुनिया से हट के problems की दुनिया में आना, यानी कि question led या problem driven research के बारे में हम सोचें। तो एक बहुत अच्छा आर्टिकल है जो भी ये ढूंढ सकें प्लीज़ ले लीजिए, शायद मैं ये भेज भी दूं फहीम साहब को, maybe he can distribute it to all of you. It's called The Method of Problems versus the Method of Topics. और उसमें एडलिन हमें बताते हैं, जिन्होंने ये लिखा है, कि formulating research questions that are genuine problems that we need to engage with often requires much imagination and struggle. तो अभी तक तो जो मैंने बात की वो that seems quite simple, लेकिन उसको formulate करने के लिए हमें काफ़ी जिद्दोजहद करनी पड़ेगी, थोड़ा-सा स्ट्रगल है टू रियली अंडरस्टैंड कि वो प्रॉब्लम है क्या, जिसके बारे में मैं सिर्फ सोचूँ ना, बल्कि उसको ज़रा फ़र्क तरीके से सोचूँ। क्योंकि एक the space in which we all exist is now a very heavily researched space. बहुत सारा लिटरेचर प्रोड्यूस हुआ है, बहुत सारे जवाब दिए गए हैं फ़र्क चीज़ों की। अब उसके बारे में, उसमें मैं क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन डाल सकती हूँ, उसमें मैं क्या इज़ाफ़ा कर सकती हूँ। तो उसके बारे में हम चाहते हैं कि हम थोड़ा-सा दुनिया को एक फ़र्क तरीके से सोचें और उसके प्रॉब्लम्स को फ़र्क तरीके से सोचें, क्योंकि अगर अब तक हमारे पास इस सारी रिसर्च के ज़रिए जवाब आ चुका होता, तो शायद हम इधर ना होते। लेकिन we're still here, we're still struggling with institutional problems, we're still struggling with problems of development, एंड उसको समझने के लिए हमारे पास क्या टूल्स हैं। तो उसको समझने के लिए वन ऑफ द टूल्स दैट वी हैव इज़ टू एंगेज अ क्रिटिकल इमेजिनेशन। और आप सोचें कि इस वक़्त तक उस रिसर्च में क्या नहीं हुआ? कौन-सी ऐसी इश्यूज़ हैं जिसको मैं ज़रा फ़र्क तरीके से देख सकूँ बाय एंगेजिंग माय क्रिटिकल इमेजिनेशन, बाय थिंकिंग अबाउट काउंटर इंट्यूटिव आइडियाज़, बाय ऑब्ज़र्विंग पैराडॉक्सेस अराउंड मी। और इस सब का मैं अभी आपको एग्ज़ाम्पल दूँगी। पैराडॉक्सेस के बारे में मैं सोचूँ, वेल नोन कॉन्सेप्ट्स को फ़र्क तरीके से देखने के बारे में सोचूँ, और दूसरे फ़ील्ड से भी कुछ बोरो करके सोचूँ। सो फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल, पॉलिटिकल साइंस में रिस्क असेसमेंट का आइडिया आया बिज़नेस स्टडीज़ से, राइट? क्लाइमेट चेंज के एरिया में बहुत सारे ऐसे आइडियाज़ हैं। पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी आई है क्लाइमेट चेंज में फ्रॉम द फील्ड of politics and economics combining. So there's lots that we can borrow from each other's fields and expand the frontiers of our own field. और ये सब जो है हमारा हक है. We are researchers, we are allowed to create, we are allowed to be inquisitive, we are allowed to be curious, and we are allowed to expand the boundaries of our own field in trying to produce new knowledge and trying to produce and add to existing knowledge. तो उसमें किस हद तक मैं अपने इर्द गिर्द जो है एक दुनिया को ऐसे ऑब्जर्व करूं जिसमें मैं उसके प्रॉब्लम्स को एक पहेली के तौर पे सोचूं. So this is the other word. एक स्ट्रैटेजी था, और अब ये दूसरा वर्ड है पजल्स, जिसने मुझे मेरे काम में बहुत हेल्प किया, बिल्कुल मेरा पर्सपेक्टिव बदला अबाउट व्हाट आई वांट टू स्टडी इन दिस वर्ल्ड. I genuinely want to study puzzles, things that I genuinely do not understand. ऐसी पहेलियाँ जिसका जवाब जो है वाज़ेह बिल्कुल नहीं है. हमारे इर्द-गिर्द ऐसी पहेलियाँ बहुत सारी हैं जिसका बिल्कुल जो कि अब तक हमारे पास जवाब होना चाहिए था पर नहीं है. So in those kinds of things, it is really important to think outside the box, to expand our imagination and to think कि वो ऐसी कौन-सी puzzles हैं, कौन-सी पहेलियाँ हैं जिसको इस्तेमाल करके मैं एक सवाल बना सकूँ. अब ये बहुत सरसरी सी बात लगने लगी है, तो इसके ज़रा क्वेश्चंस के थ्रू सोचते हैं. So कुछ मेरे पास सवाल हैं, मेरे अपने काम में से ये सवाल है जहाँ पर मुझे लगा कि कुछ एक असल पहेली है जिसको मैं समझना चाह रही हूँ. तो ये जो है मेरा काम था सर्बिया में, उस पे मैंने इस पे तहकीक की कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ सर्बिया को बहुत कंसर्न था अबाउट द फैक्ट कि उनकी ज़्यादातर आबादी जो है अब वो एक ही मेन शहर में रहती है और बाकी शहरों में रहती है, और उनके जो रूरल एरियाज़ हैं वो काफ़ी खाली हो चुके हैं. And so they started this process of local economic development. Lekin that worked better in some districts than others. And it's an important principle. We don't want our rural areas to empty out. We want to be able to take enough development to rural areas to make sure कि सिर्फ urban migration के तहत सिर्फ हमारे शहर ही ना तरक्की करें, सिर्फ वही ना बढ़ें और उनकी आबादी में इजाफा ना हो, बल्कि रूरल एरियाज में भी लोग रहकर एक अच्छी जिंदगी गुजार सके. So that requires economic diversification to some extent. It requires investment. But why does that happen in some areas better than others? Why are some local governments able to reduce rural to urban migration, but not other local governments? So वो ऐसी कौन सी चीज है? So it might not be a huge puzzle, but it is a puzzle. मैं एक टॉपिक को नहीं स्टडी कर रही, मैंने एक सवाल बनाया है जो कि एक पजल पे मबनी है, जो कि जिसके अंदर एक पजल है. तो इसी तरह के कुछ और सवाल हैं जो कि मैं आपके सामने यहाँ पर रख सकती हूँ. This is another part of my work, and this is actually true of Pakistan. Why do more women vote in rural than in urban constituencies in Pakistan? हमारे मुल्क में रूरल औरतें ज्यादा वोट डालती हैं बनिस्बत अर्बन औरतों के. तो ये भी हमारे लिए की बहुत बड़ी पहेली थी कि ये this is unexpected. This is a counterintuitive idea. This is not how we understand politics around the world. Around the world, urban populations and richer populations vote more. हमारी तरफ rural populations and poorer populations vote more. That's a really big puzzle for us that we'd like to solve. इसके अलावा कुछ और सवाल हैं. Sorry, I seem to have lost. G. What explains social capital being stronger in the north of Italy than in the south? ये एक बहुत फेमस किताब है सोशल कैपिटल पर बाय रॉबर्ट पटनम. उनका सवाल भी एक पहेली पे मबनी था. What explains social capital being much stronger in the north of India than in the south of in the north of Italy than in the south of Italy? इसके अलावा why did countries at equal levels of development have different rates of success in achieving the MDGs? International organizations के लिए, मुल्कों के लिए इस वक्त ये बहुत बड़ा सवाल है कि सब ने investments की, लेकिन कुछ countries ने ज़्यादा success हासिल की in meeting SDGs and then MDGs, and कुछ ने नहीं उसी तरह की success की, even though their levels of development may be equal. Then there is a very big question that a lot of my gender studies students are dealing with. Why, despite more than 50% of women in parliament in Rwanda, are women-friendly laws not being passed? क्योंकि हमें लिटरेचर में, थ्योरी में बताया जाता है कि अगर ज़्यादा औरतें होंगी पार्लियामेंट में तो ज़्यादा women-friendly laws पास होंगी, लेकिन रवांडा में ये नहीं देखने को मिला है हमें. And then, why do some citizens receive better services than others, even in the same neighborhoods? ये हमारा लाहौर में काम था, जहाँ पर हम देखना चाह रहे थे कि across the same city, neighborhoods में बहुत फ़र्क है, not just because of income, but for many other reasons, बहुत फ़र्क है in why some of them are able to achieve development and others are not. So I'm hoping at this point you can see what I mean by puzzle-oriented, but also question-led research. तो इसमें जो मैं आपको दिखाना चाह रही हूँ, वो है the fact that what I'm hoping you've picked up from this previous slide are the fact that all of these questions matter for policy. They're all relevant for public policy. They're all dealing with current issues that we have and current challenges that we want to try and solve. But the other thing that I hope some of you have picked out of this is the fact कि इन सब के अंदर एक और magic लफ्ज़ है जो कि है variation. So strategy or puzzle के साथ another great way to get leverage in your research is to think about variation. दुनिया हर सिटीजन जो है, हर फर्द जो है वो दुनिया को फर्क तरीके से एक्सपीरियंस करता है, and within that there is a lot of variation in the same city, in the same neighborhoods, in the same countries, in the same households. People have different experiences of different policies, of different problems, and so that variation is a great source of leverage in the work that you do and in forming your questions. Variation को इस्तेमाल करते हुए इन सब researchers ने on the previously slide policy problems को एक genuine puzzle के तौर पे approach किया और उसके थ्रू अपनी रिसर्च शुरू की। तो हमारी रिसर्च शुरू होती है नॉट जस्ट विद अ क्वेश्चन, बट नॉट जस्ट विद अ क्वेश्चन, विद अ जेन्युइनली पजल ओरिएंटेड क्वेश्चन। और पजल्स कहाँ से आते हैं? वो आते हैं हमारी ऑब्जर्वेशन ऑफ वेरिएशन से, to observe the variation that exists in the world around us. So I'm hoping that at this point you can see why it is so important to lead with a research question. It helps provide focus. It helps reduce the infinite complexity of phenomena. हमारे इर्द गिर्द जो कुछ हो रहा है वो infinitely complex है, और उसको समझने के लिए a research question is a very important tool that reduces it to those aspects of the phenomena that I'm most interested in, that provide my puzzle in this moment, and that can be expressed as an efficient and short statement about a puzzle. So I'm hoping that in the next session on research questions, you'll get more into this. It helps make my project realistic because it tells me कि मेरे resources और मेरी effort किस हद तक extend हो सकती है, मेरे बस में क्या है कि उसको मैं इस वक्त solve कर सकूं, given the money I have, given the time that I have, given the resources and capacity that I have. All of that is reflected in the short, efficient statement that we call a research question. And it also helps answer the so what question. Why do we care? ये सवाल पूछना क्यों जरूरी है? ये सवाल इस वक्त पूछना क्यों जरूरी है? और इसके थ्रू हमें ऐसा क्या सुनने को मिलेगा, क्या पढ़ने को मिलेगा जो कि इस वक्त हम नहीं जानते? But here I just want to caution a little bit that we're constantly led to this space of thinking about gaps, research questions that are gaps. And I want to push a little bit towards contribution, to understand कि हमें हर वक्त औरों के रिसर्च में नुक्स और गैप निकालने के बजाय सोचना चाहिए एक फील्ड को एज अ डेवलपिंग स्पेस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन, एज अ डेवलपिंग स्पेस ऑफ नॉलेज, इन विच नॉलेज इज कॉन्स्टेंटली बीइंग जनरेटेड, और जिसका मैं एक हिस्सा बन के उस फील्ड को और उस नॉलेज को आगे बढ़ा सकूं बाय contributing something. And the other reason why it's really important is very often there are gaps in the literature. And people say, I evaluate a lot of research studies all the time, and very often people will clearly tell me which gap they're filling, but what they're not able to tell me is, so what? What if they fill that gap? तो क्या बदल जाएगा दुनिया के बारे में? तो it is true that it is a gap, लेकिन शायद वो गैप इसलिए है क्योंकि वो जरूरी ही नहीं है कि हम उसको फिल करें। वो इसलिए एक गैप रह गया क्योंकि उसमें कुछ इतनी इंटरेस्टिंग बात नहीं थी या इतनी चैलेंजिंग या एक पजल नहीं था जिसको फिल किया जाए। So by thinking about contribution, you're helping answer the so what question. Why is it important that this gap be filled? And why is it important that we get answers to these questions? So that's another slight shift that I wanted to make for you over here. तो ये जो सारा process है, और इसको मैं जरा I'm going to speed this up a little bit, but ये जो सारा process है research topic से लेके analysis तक, ये बहुत सारे different processes के through गुजरता है. But what I would like to argue for you here today is in सब के बीच में the research question is the most important thing, क्योंकि research question से जुड़ा है आपकी theory and concepts, आप कौन सी theories को इस्तेमाल करेंगे, आप कितना पढ़ेंगे और आप किन कॉन्सेप्ट्स को इस्तेमाल करेंगी, उसमें से आप कौन सी हाइपोथेसिस निकालेंगी, वो सब कुछ जो है वो मबनी है रिसर्च क्वेश्चन पे. योर रिसर्च क्वेश्चन इज योर मेन गाइड एंड योर मेन टूल फॉर सजेस्टिंग how to approach your theory, your concepts, your hypotheses. उसी के साथ लिटरेचर रिव्यू आपने कितना पढ़ना है, किस लिटरेचर में से कौन से कॉन्सेप्ट्स निकालने हैं, केसेस कौन से इस्तेमाल करने हैं, मेथड्स कौन से इस्तेमाल करने हैं, कौन से मेथड्स के जरिए आप हाइपोथेसिस को टेस्ट करना चाह रहे हैं, ये सब कुछ आपके रिसर्च क्वेश्चन से कनेक्टेड है. नॉट जस्ट एज सॉर्ट ऑफ यू trying to make it connect, but I'm trying to put across the fact कि research question एक ऐसा tool है जिस पे clarity हासिल करते साथ you will be able to notice कि ये सब कुछ जो उसके साथ related है, connected है उससे, वो सब कुछ will start to become clearer and easier for you to deal with. And so that's why I'm trying to suggest कि ये सब research questions से आप approach शुरू करें इन सब चीज़ों की तरफ, तो उधर से आपका analysis easy हो जाता है. None of this is a linear process. In fact, as a linear process, this sequence describes a very poor social science research. तो इन सब के बीच में एक constant iteration चलती है. आपने एक research question बनाया, आपने उसके through strategy भी बनाई, फिर आप field में गए, आपने evidence collect की, आपने data collect किया, And then you realize that the world out there looks very different than anything you'd ever imagined. जिस वक्त आप एक कुर्सी और मेज पे बैठे हुए थे और आपने ये सवाल पूछा था. At that point, your research question will change. Your hypotheses will change. And all of it should change. When things change, it is more exciting. It means that you're iterating based on real world evidence and in relationship to what is happening out there. तो एक constant interaction, iterative interaction, आगे पीछे का relationship चलता है आपके research question के बीच में, आपके concepts के बीच में, आपके data के बीच में. And especially जब आप पॉलिसी की तरफ से इसको सोचें, क्योंकि पॉलिसीज बदलती हैं, गवर्नमेंट्स बदलती हैं, एक्टर्स बदलते हैं और क्राइसिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट आते हैं, फ्लड्स आते हैं, पेंडेमिक होता है. देयर आर सो मेनी मोमेंट्स इन विच वी एज रिसर्चर्स are expected to work on that which is happening around us, and all of that requires that we remain flexible. So at the end of this first part of it, I just wanted to put to you that research design is essentially strategies for using credible evidence to answer puzzles. So I'm hoping that that is clearer to you at this point. Aur ab chalte hain towards the second part of that shift that I talked about, which is moving from the logic of methods towards the logic of inquiry. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but let me just sort of start with the most basic. बहुत काफ़ी दफ़ा ये होता है कि जब लोग अपना डिज़ाइन पेश करते हैं, और शायद नदीम साहब ने भी यही बात की, फ़हीम साहब ने मेंशन किया कि इन व्हाट इज़ सक्सेसफुल और नॉट, people start very often with their method and then they assume that उस method से सब कुछ आगे चलता है, सवाल भी उसी में से निकलेगा, एक area भी उसी में से define होगा. But I'd like to move you away from that. That's not true, that's not useful. So काफी लोग अपने आप को आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं as either a quantitative or a qualitative researcher. They're both equally valid. The point of that method is to think about whether you are interested in trying to explain some kind of an effect that is happening across an entire population by using statistics, or you're interested in explaining some kind of an outcome that is happening in some case that you're interested in understanding, और वो outcome क्यों आया उसकी logic आप समझना चाह रहे हैं. So both are equally valid ways of doing research, लेकिन इनका logic of inquiry फर्क है. And all I want to say to you here is कि आप logic of inquiry से शुरू हों और उसके थ्रू सोचें कि वो ऐसी क्या चीज़ है जो कि मैं समझना चाह रही हूँ, और इसलिए कौन से मेथड के थ्रू मैं उसको समझूं. In the same way, people will try and separate out research traditions by saying I'm a positivist or I'm an interpretivist. I live in a world in which this happens all the time. Some of us are considered positivists because we're interested in understanding an objective fact, something out there, an empirical fact that exists. उसको हम measurement के through approach करते हैं, in order to get certain explanations. Other times, I'm much more interested in understanding people's experience of something. तो वो एक subjective fact बन जाता है. उसको हम objectively नहीं सोचते, हम सोचते हैं कि लोगों की interpretation उसकी क्या है. तो वो एक cold measure नहीं है, लोगों की interpretation, लोगों की सोच matters in that. So I'm trying to understand some world deeply as opposed to trying to explain a phenomena. So अगर आप healthcare systems के बारे में सोचें, I can do large N analysis on that to try and understand how people experience certain types of healthcare. But I can also do small n qualitative interpretivist research to understand how they experience that system and what is the experience of certain kinds of healthcare. So all this to say, any of these approaches is all valid, but the way to start research is to think about the logic of my inquiry and to match my approach to the logic of that inquiry. तो अगर आप, this is another area in which a lot of research has happened around the world कि अगर औरतों के लिए quotas बनाए जाएं पार्लियामेंट में, तो उसके जरिए उनकी participation ज़्यादा हो सकती है कि नहीं. In a lot of the research, this has been done in a large N way. We've looked at numbers of women across the world. We have looked at the numbers of women that come out to vote as well. But at the same time, there's also research that looks at how women have experienced the giving of quotas or the creation of quotas and them fighting on quotas rather than in general seats, how that has been experienced by women. Either one is fine. And to give you a little bit more example from my own work, एक ही शहर में एक ही इवेंट को पढ़ते हुए मैंने 2 फ़र्क सवाल पूछे और बिल्कुल फ़र्क मेथड्स इस्तेमाल किए बिकॉज़ माय इंटेंट एंड द लॉजिक ऑफ माय इंक्वायरी वाज़ डिफरेंट ईच टाइम। तो इवेंट था कोविड-19, एक हमने प्रोजेक्ट बनाया जिसमें हम पूछना चाह रहे थे, why did the pandemic have a gendered impact on some households in Lahore but not in others? कुछ जगहों पे the inequality within households and the work burden on between different genders in a household became almost unbearable and problematic, and in other households that did not happen. और उसी इवेंट के दौरान हमने एक और रिसर्च किया जिसका सवाल था, how did relations of trust between citizens and states and citizens working in the informal sectors in Lahore impact vaccination rates during COVID-19? एक ही शहर है, एक ही इवेंट है, बहुत फ़र्क किस्म के सवाल हैं और इसलिए हमने सोचा कि उसको, क्योंकि हमारा इंटेंट दोनों प्रोजेक्ट्स में फ़र्क है, उसी के मुताबिक उसके मेथड्स बनाए जाएँ। So in the first one, we were interested in two things: variation inside households and variation across households in the city of Lahore. तो उसको हमने approach किया through large N work. We did 3,000 household surveys to estimate this effect. On the other hand, for the relationship of trust, we thought that was a much more experienced phenomena, and how informal sector workers were experiencing the pandemic, and through that, how they were experiencing the state, and how they were experiencing, and how all of this was impacting their willingness to get a vaccine. Were they turning up to get vaccines during the pandemic or not? So iske liye humne through medium N research isko approach kiya, and that's how we did this, through very detailed interviews that happened across sectors and within informal sectors and across genders. So all of this, again, just to reiterate the fact that it doesn't matter what your method is. What matters is what is your research strategy. So what you want to think to yourself is, how will I establish the answer to my question, rather than thinking, how will I collect data? So बजाय इसके कि आप सोचें कि अब इसके लिए डेटा की क्या ज़रूरत है, आप पहले शुरू करें कि मुझे किस चीज़ की ज़रूरत है to be able to establish a credible answer to this question, और उसकी strategy क्या होनी चाहिए, which means that you can then through that create a research strategy that could actually then collect data in any of these methods, through any of these methods. All of them are valid, and in fact, some of the most rich research comes from mixing methods, using all of these, from secondary data to oral histories to visual methods. These are all valid methods, and hopefully you will be able to mix and match across them based on what the intent of your inquiry is. What is the purpose of your inquiry, and what is the answer that you're trying to get at through a genuine puzzle that you're trying to explore. And of course, methodologies भी हमें पता है बहुत सारी हैं, उसको भी आप mix and match करने का सोच सकते हैं, उनकी अपनी एक logic है. But again, I'm going to say मैं research strategy से शुरू होके फिर methodology के बारे में सोचूंगी, as opposed to starting with my methodology and then thinking कि इसमें सवाल क्या बनाया जाए, strategy क्या होनी चाहिए, and so on. So I hope I've been able to show you how it is important to be able to flip the lens a little bit, to be able to shift out of that space जहाँ पर हम हमेशा method से शुरू होते हैं, methodology से शुरू होते हैं, और फिर strategy की तरफ आते हैं, to think instead about your strategy defined as a puzzle, led by a question, and with everything else falling in line with that strategy. So now, in the last few minutes of this talk, I wanted to come towards the final third point that I wanted to make: descriptive research versus causal research. And within that, from pointing out problems to finding the solutions to that problem. So think about some policy issue. Imagine some policy issue. ये education पे हो सकता है, ये healthcare पे हो सकता है, ये different किस्म के marginalized groups की political participation पे हो सकता है, ये economic policy हो सकती है, ये rural development policy हो सकती है, as I told you, the example that I gave you of the research that I did in Serbia. तो इन सब के बारे में I keep pointing out to the students that I work with is that I no longer want to just understand the problem. हम सबको मालूम है कि problems बहुत सारी हैं. इतनी रिसर्च के बाद हमें ये भी मालूम है और इतने लिटरेचर के बाद हमें ये भी मालूम है कि वो प्रॉब्लम्स क्यों हैं. काफ़ी हद तक हम ये समझते हैं. So unless a problem is being defined for the very first time by you, we have less interest in descriptive research. अगर ये पहली दफ़ा है कि कोई इस इशू को उठा के डिस्क्राइब कर रहा है, फिर तो by all means आप कीजिए descriptive research, उसकी बहुत वैल्यू होगी, हमें समझ आएगी कि आप ये क्यों कर रहे हैं और इसकी क्या वैल्यू थी. But most of the time, the research that I read at least is talking about problems that we know quite a lot about. We know why rural areas are not developed. We know why education policy is not extensively applied, or why children are not going to school in all parts of the country. We know why the quality of education might also be problematic. We know a lot of the issues with the healthcare system. We also know who does it affect. We also know where it might be more acute, right? So शायद आपके एरिया में वो किसी ने पहले नहीं सोचा, लेकिन अगर आप उस एरिया को इन कॉन्वर्सेशन लाए विद द रेस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, you'll notice कि उस तरह के और केसेस को लोगों ने समझा है, उस पे काम भी किया है. So maybe not the district in which you're working, but other similar looking districts around the world जिसमें issues very similar have been studied. So it's not a new thing for you to be studying that particular district. What is new is कि उस district, आपके नए district की नई research के through हमें कुछ नया देखने को मिले about why the issue exists and what makes it happen and how can we fix it. So these are the differences between what is descriptive research and what is causal research. एक problem को describe करना कि वो क्या है problem, वो किसको affect करता है, वो कितना acute है, ये सब descriptive बातें हैं. They are important to some extent. हर project में descriptive section होता है, and that is an important part of the project. But that cannot be the entire project. For the project to be really successful, especially in the world of policy, we wanted to push beyond. We wanted to move beyond descriptive research to the world of causal research and to think about why does this issue exist? What is the political economy of this issue? कौन सी ऐसी incentive structures हैं, कौन से ऐसे institutional structures हैं, कौन से ऐसे actors हैं और उनकी क्या incentives हैं जिसके through ये issue exist करता है और वो क्यों exist करता है, उनकी behavior क्यों ऐसी है. So as we also like to say, ask the question why, then ask why again, then ask why again. Ask why a few times until you feel that you're getting towards the thing that might be the real answer. जो असली जवाब है, जो कि core foundational issue है, जिसकी वजह से एक issue exist करता है, एक policy challenge exist करता है. And then how can we fix it? So a lot of causal research now, or as I say to my students, please don't give me the problem, tell me how we can fix it. Tell me what you can find about the ways in which we can start to fix this challenge, how we can start to solve these issues. और उसके अंदर the field that has really brought quantitative and qualitative research together is a growing focus on understanding causal mechanisms. वो ऐसी कौन सी mechanisms हैं जिसकी वजह से हम ये समझ पाते हैं कि एक issue, एक cause और उसका effect क्यों होता है. Causal research is about cause and effect. तो एक cause का जब इफेक्ट आता है उसकी मैकेनिज्म क्या होती है और उस मैकेनिज्म के लिए quantitative research has some answers, some methodologies, but a lot of that work has come from qualitative research. And the richest research is the one that brings the quant and the qual together, brings it together to not just understand why an issue exists, but actually how does it function? How does this challenge work to create these issues? And therefore, how can we change it? So जितना हम उसके अंदर तह तक उसकी तह तक जा सकेंगे, डिटेल में जा सकेंगे, उतना ही बेहतर हम उसको समझ पाएंगे, and therefore we're going to be able to change it. So right at the end, I'm just going to say a few things about digging deeper into this. There is the descriptive research, that is the what, and then there is the analytical research, which is the where, when, why, how. And within analytical research, you can imagine कि एक इंटरप्रेटिव उसका तरीक़ेकार हो सकता है, हम लोगों के एक्सपीरियंस को इंटरप्रेट करें, उसको एनालाइज करें और समझें कि इश्यूज क्यों एग्जिस्ट करती हैं. लेकिन a large part of that research is also relational. दो चीजों के बीच में रिश्ता क्या है, कनेक्शन क्या है, उनके बीच में कनेक्शन है भी कि नहीं. और उस relational research के अंदर there are two other areas. One is correlational and one is causal. And this is where a lot of the research problems start for researchers. कि वो relational research कर रहे हैं कि interpretive, और अगर relational कर रहे हैं तो वो correlational research है या causal research है. और ये problem क्यों आती है? Because there are two very distinct things. Correlation वो होता है जब when two things move together. So आज सुबह मैं उठी, मैंने जूते पहने और बारिश शुरू हो गई. अब ये coincidence हो सकता है या ये शायद कॉरिलेशन है कि हर दफ़ा मैं जूते पहनूंगी और बारिश उसी टाइम होती है जब मैं जूते पहनती हूँ, या मैं जूते तब पहनती हूँ जब बारिश होती है. कॉरिलेशन हो सकता है, और या कॉजेशन होता है कि मेरे जूते पहनने की वजह से बारिश हुई, और अगर वो मैं जूते ना पहनती तो बारिश ना होती, which is the counterfactual. If I remove this cause, the outcome would disappear. अब आप हंसे इस बात पे क्योंकि एक बहुत ही फजूल सी मिसाल है ये, लेकिन this is very often in research we come to see exactly claims like this made कि मैंने कुछ correlation देखा दो factors के बीच में, और मैंने उससे decide किया कि क्योंकि मुझे एक correlation नजर आई, क्योंकि एक चीज होती है तो फिर कुछ और हो जाता है, तो मैंने अब decide कर लिया है that that is a correlation, right? And that can destroy a lot of good research because we jumped to making claims before actually thinking about what else may be going on. The counterfactual in causation is something, if you remove it, the rain should not happen. अगर मैं जूते ना पहनूं और फिर भी बारिश हो, तो मेरे जूते पहनना is not a cause of that बारिश, right? So उसकी वजह से counterfactual analysis in research is a very important thing. Making claims and why you make claims when you make claims is a very important thing to keep in mind when doing policy research. We need to match our questions to the claims we make. तो हमारे सवाल का जो logic of inquiry है, जो intent है, वो उस हद तक हो जहां तक मैं एक claim कर सकती हूँ, एक claim बना सकती हूँ. और beyond that, I have to match my claims to the strategy I've used. कि मैंने कुछ interviews करके एक qualitative strategy के through लोगों के experiences मालूम किए, उस पे काम किया, लेकिन जब मैंने recommendations लिखे तो मैंने बहुत सारा claim कर लिया about the cause of something, क्योंकि मुझे 5 लोगों ने बताया कि ये हुआ, तो उसके basis पे मैंने एक पूरा claim बना दिया, और उस claim के basis पे मैंने policy भी recommend कर दी. And so we have to be careful about things like this. So मेरे एक student थे, टांजानिया पे research कर रहे थे, और उन्होंने मुझसे आके कहा कि I think that a change in participatory budgeting laws happened in my country, और उसकी वजह से corruption कम हो गई उस मुल्क में. Participatory budgeting laws, some of you will know, ये एक local government की budgeting का तरीका है जो कि ब्राज़ील में शुरू हुआ, और अब कुछ दुनिया के 2000 शहरों में ये इस्तेमाल होता है for local government budgeting processes. So उन्होंने कहा कि उधर भी हमने ये इस्तेमाल किया और उसकी वजह से corruption कम हो गई. ज़रूर हुई होगी, but as a researcher and as a supervisor in this case, my main question to them was counterfactual क्या है? What else was going on? कुछ ऐसा हुआ उस दौरान जिसकी वजह से भी corruption कम हो सकती है, या आप यकीन से मुझे अपने evidence के through और अपनी methodology के through ये दिखा पाएंगे कि चूंकि वो participatory budgeting laws change हुई, उसी की वजह से corruption भी कम हुई. And nothing else happened at that time that could have done that. So what we usually do is we look widely, we cast a large web, we look at all the things that could have changed in that time that could have affected corruption levels. And then through that process, we eliminate using data and evidence and arguments and counterfactuals. We eliminate rival explanations to be able to reduce the world to the one factor that we think may have a causal relationship rather than a correlational relationship with that which we are studying. So ending this very quickly on this space is the two questions that will separate this for you. Correlational सवाल है, are student outcomes better in private schools? उसी area में causation का सवाल है, do private schools improve student outcomes? तो ये क्यों है? ये इसलिए है क्यों एक causation क्यों है और एक correlation क्यों है? I will use again that tool. What else may be going on? पहले वाले सवाल में ये हो सकता है जो प्राइवेट स्कूल्स की स्टूडेंट आउटकम्स बहुत अच्छे होते हैं, ये हो सकता है जो कि हमारे मुल्क में हर वक़्त होता है। प्राइवेट स्कूल्स में बी ब्रिंगिंग इन द मोस्ट टैलेंटेड स्टूडेंट्स। उसके बाद वो प्राइवेट स्कूल्स उन स्टूडेंट्स के साथ कुछ करें ना करें, उनके आउटकम्स बेहतर होने हैं। अब ये प्राइवेट स्कूल्स की वजह से कॉज़ेशन हुई है या स्टूडेंट ऑलरेडी इंटेलिजेंट थे और उन्होंने यहाँ पर कुछ अरसा पढ़ा, उनको नेगेटिव नहीं किया गया किसी तरह और उन्होंने अच्छे आउटकम्स हासिल किए। कॉज़ल सवाल ये होगा कि क्या उस प्राइवेट स्कूल ने कुछ ऐसा किया, जिसकी वजह से स्टूडेंट आउटकम्स वर द सेम? तो यहाँ पर वन वे टू स्टडी इट इज़ टू सी द स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ द सिमिलर एबिलिटीज़ go into a public and a private school and then see what is happening in those schools to be able to improve those outcomes. So, all of this to say that we need to be careful about causation because we want to be careful about the claims that we make. We want to dig deeper into correlations because, as we are told, and here I want to bring your focus to not just to quantitative methods that are focused on causation and fancy regressions, but as Charles Tilley reminded us a very long time ago, process is really important. हमारे research के through अगर हम process और causal mechanism को समझ सके, and a lot of that happens through qualitative research very often as well, causal mechanisms or how things happen is why they happen. अगर हम process को देख सकें, तो हम ये भी देख सकेंगे कि चीजें हो क्यों रही हैं. So in the end, what I've told you are those three areas. Identify a puzzle that intrigues you, choose a strategy with which to explore it, which is your logic of inquiry, and then lead us towards finding a solution. But be careful to match your claims to your strategy. And these are the things that I've always thought have really helped me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shandana. An excellent presentation, excellent talk. I wish कि आप मेरी स्टार होती और मैंने आपसे बड़ा सीखा होता. Thank you so much, ji. Acha ji, so we have lots of questions in the question and answer tab. If Dr. Shandana, you can also go there with me. I have also requested the members of our research advisory committee to help me answer some of the questions. जो relevant थे मेरे वो तो मैंने कुछ answer कर दिए हैं. But I would like to ask one question on behalf of the RAC and for all the potential applicants which we have. What we see is in this round, we have received more than 1,700 applications. And interestingly, what we see is more than 95%, 96% cases mein, we see that there is a mixed method approach. तो ये हम लास्ट सेशन में भी डिस्कस करेंगे कि what we see in Pakistan, I'm not sure about UK, you can enlighten us about that, but this virus of mixed method has spread so far that people don't realize that if you're using mixed method, basically the research question should decide which method you are using, right? One thing. And the second thing is, if you have to use mixed method approach, then that approach should be illuminating, like both quantitative and qualitative come together to answer your research question. I would like your view and your guidance for all these applicants who are going to submit again to the Rasta round. Please.
This is a really excellent question, and thank you for bringing that up because I really should clarify that part of it. Is दो चीजें दिमाग में रखिए. एक, logic of inquiry क्या है? And if that logic is satisfied by a single method, फिर शायद by mixing your methods आप dilute कर रहे हैं अपने time को, अपने resources को, अपने effort को. लेकिन and so that is one thing. The second thing to keep in mind is value added. By bringing something in, am I able to show that I'll be able to go deeper? या ऐसी कोई चीज है, कुछ एस्पेक्ट है उस रिसर्च सवाल का या उस इंटेंट ऑफ इंक्वायरी का जो कि एक मेथड से नहीं पूरी हो सकती. So again, it's pretty much to say what I've already said in the session is follow from the strategy and decide from the strategy what is required. Do not follow any of it blindly. So हम बहुत अरसा पहले हमने mixed methods पे फोकस करना शुरू किया क्योंकि लोग बिल्कुल एम्बेडेड होते हैं अपने मेथड में। वो शुरू ही बात इससे करते हैं कि मैं एक क्वांट इकोनॉमिस्ट हूँ, तो मैं तो सिर्फ एक ही किस्म का रिसर्च कर सकता हूँ। और या हम कहते हैं क्योंकि मैं एक क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्चर हूँ, तो मैं तो सिर्फ एक ही दुनिया में रह सकती हूँ और उसी तरह की रिसर्च कर सकती हूँ। So we started moving people beyond that towards more interdisciplinary research. But borrowing from my own space, I have to also say that one person, there's two things I like to say. One person can't do it all. So a lot of our multi-method research happens through collaborations, by coming together in teams to do it. At the same time, our research projects are very important spaces in which to learn. And so to learn new methodologies, to build that up, if you have the time and space, please do that. These are rich spaces to expand our methodologies. But think about collaborations and think about whether you're diluting the effort or deepening the effort by mixing methods.
Okay, excellent. So should I pick some questions from there, or would you like to go through the questions and
Sure, I'm just reading through. If there's something else has jumped out at you, I'm happy to take that. Gee, there's one. Can we talk about both causal and correlational at the same time? So again, my immediate sense when I read that is again to be clear on what is the intent. What do you want to get at? And is that just to figure out कि एक policy आई है और उसका constantly हम एक correlation देख रहे हैं with a certain producing a certain kind of behavior. उसकी वजह से कुछ behavior change होने लगा है. और कॉजल रिसर्च में हम अब कंट्रीब्यूशन एनालिसिस भी करते हैं सो दैट वी मूव अवे फ्रॉम दैट आइडिया कि एक ही कॉज होता है एक इफेक्ट का टू से कि ईच वन कंट्रीब्यूट्स अ लिटिल बिट सो इन दैट यू कैन ट्राई एंड सी कि एक कॉरिलेशन को आप हाईलाइट करना चाह रहे हैं सो फॉर एग्जांपल when women come into parliament more, is it, and they start to behave in a certain way, is that a correlation of just having more women in that space, or is there a specific causation to what that space does to their participation in that? Both of it is valid. It just depends on what is it, where the gap is, where the contribution needs to be made to the literature, and what is it that I'm going to contribute. They do not need to be done together. In fact, you can start with आपकी जिंदगी में hopefully बहुत सारे research projects होंगे. So often we start with a correlational study, and while doing that, we realize that the next thing I can apply for is to deepen the causation on this. And so I can move from one to the other and to be able to take that. हमारे institute में हम working paper series करते हैं, जिसके through हम आगे फिर research को आगे बढ़ाते हैं towards trying to understand the causation better. So there's different ways of coming at it. But not to pack too much into the same project is what I would say. There's one about, I want to know in question-led research, Fida Mohammed ne sawal pucha hai, especially in qualitative social science, the aim is often to explore rather than solve. So can every research problem realistically be treated as a puzzle with a definable solution? I'd like to think that we all want to try and solve some puzzle at this point, especially in crisis-affected countries, especially places where the crisis can be where so many answers are needed, and so within that to spread to sort of put our efforts in that direction, but at the same, and also whether the grant requires that from you or not, but also to say that you have to define whether that description is really needed or not. So जिसको आप कह रहे हैं that we're exploring, उस exploration की अभी तक ज़रूरत है कि नहीं? And very often our students will tell us there is no literature on this topic, and what they mean by that is मेरे इलाके में, मेरे शहर पे इस चीज़ पे research नहीं हुई. But we move them very quickly away from that space to say that's not important. We can take research from somewhere else to understand a problem. तो अगर इस सवाल पे, इसी इशू पे किसी और ने इसको एक्सप्लोर किया है और वो जगह काफी हद तक आपके शहर की तरह लगती है, तो आप उस एक्सप्लोरेशन को हुआ कंप्लीट समझें और उससे आगे अगला स्टेप उठाएं to contribute to that larger literature, because your contribution is not just on a case study that's been understudied. Studying understudied cases is a very important space for us, but we have to understand what value studying that understudied case brings to the literature. Usko padhne ka fayda kya hai, usse value kya hasil hogi, and that has to happen in exploration, in conversation with the larger literature. तो चाहे वो लाहौर में हो या वो बेलग्रेड में हो या वो ब्राज़ीलिया में हो, वो जो है लिटरेचर और वो कॉन्सेप्ट्स और वो एक्सप्लोरेशन मेरे लिए वैलिड है. और फिर मैं उधर से आई कैन टेक द नेक्स्ट स्टेप टू से यहाँ पर मुझे ये चेंज करना पड़ेगा because of certain customs, maybe for the context changes that in some way, but my starting point is to explore all of that exploration and then decide कि इसको मैं किस direction में आगे बढ़ाना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि context फर्क है, issues फर्क है, political economy फर्क है, शायद challenges फर्क हों. So you are now adding value by pointing out to the entire world, not just to researchers in Pakistan, to the entire world कि जब context फर्क होता है तो यही ideas फर्क होती हैं. And my hope would be to then use your research to be able to add that to the global research and be able to say that all of it is in conversation together, and it's not just that we're separating out research on Pakistan from research in other areas. Fahim Saab, maybe you can answer this one because ये हमें भी बहुत वो देखने को मिलता है. Can we change the research question in stage 2 and the logic of inquiry from single method to mixed methods? We usually say go with the field, see what's really out there. We can't imagine the field sitting in our chairs, but you can change that. But I realize that there are grants out there that seem to have very specific stipulations.
Well, you see, if I may, initially we asked them to submit a research idea, right? So once they are selected for the second round, they are definitely going to improve their research proposal based on the research idea which they had for stage 1, and definitely they can think about their team composition as well, keeping in view the research design and requirement of the experts you need. So it's perfectly fine, you can do that.
Excellent. दो सवाल को मैं combine करना चाह रही हूँ. These are excellent questions. रबाब खान पूछती हैं, can you please elaborate on the causal mechanism of qualitative studies? And Abdul Quddus पूछ रहे हैं, do we have any requirement about sample size? My question is about mixed method research where sample size is not large. Can we draw causal relationships? So to answer Rabab's question here, बिल्कुल एक बहुत बड़ा और expanding emerging field है of causality through qualitative research. In fact, my qualitative colleagues will tell me that they were in this space before quantitative researchers were. That qualitative का तो काम ही यही है कि वो समझे कि लोगों की जिंदगी में जो सब कुछ होता है वो किस तरह होता है और क्यों होता है. So it's about norms, it's about the way we live. All of those experiences allow us to see that. So एक methodology which is trying to capture all of that is process tracing, which is not chronological work, but it tries to understand कि एक cause है, उसका एक effect है, उसके बीच में causal linkages कितने हैं और किस तरह के हैं और कौन सी चीज किस चीज को effect करती है और उस effect का आगे क्या वो effect किस चीज का cause बनता है और उसके through कौन सा effect निकलता है. And to keep tracing this very qualitatively through interviews, not very large N work, but to be able to do interviews and to be able to observe people's lives, to be able to be participants in people's lives, in a way, observers of people's lives in a way that allows you to be able to start seeing what are the processes at work there. So as Tilly said, to understand how it happens is why it happens. इसीलिए वो आखिरी quote मैंने डाला Tilly का उधर to say कि how को समझना why को समझना है और why को समझना causal है. So because of that, qualitative research can be done. Mixed method research need not be small n. That is a choice you make to make it small n in that combination between quant and qual. लेकिन हमारा इस वक्त काम है काफ़ी extensive. हम 10,000 हमने सर्वेस किए हैं लाहौर में टैक्स इशू पे और उसके साथ अब हम क्वाल काम कर रहे हैं काफ़ी डिटेल्ड along with that. So because we had the resources in this case, हमने mixed methods होने की वजह से उसको limit नहीं किया, but there are two very different strands that are going to be able to say something. हमने पहले quant किया, उससे जो हमें पता चला उसी के साथ हम आगे क्वाल डिज़ाइन करके एक और प्रोसेस एक और पूरा स्टेज उसका चला रहे हैं. This is an interesting one, a slightly difficult one. Abdul Razak पूछते हैं, how can we assess whether an identified research gap is sufficiently significant to contribute to solving the problem? The research gap is, इसीलिए मैंने कहा कि बहुत ज़्यादा मुझे research projects देखने को मिलते हैं जहाँ पर वो gap identify करते हैं, but ये नहीं बताते कि वो gap को fill करना, complete करना क्यों ज़रूरी है. And that's, like I said, it's probably because the gap is okay for it to exist. We don't need to fill the gap because it doesn't say anything important in filling that gap. What is much more important is आप अपनी intent ऑफ इंक्वायरी, जिस चीज़ को आप समझना चाह रहे हैं, उस पहेली के बारे में सोचें और सोचें कि अगर इस पहेली का मैं जवाब ढूँढूँ तो उसके थ्रू कितनी बड़ी कंट्रीब्यूशन हो सकती है कि नहीं. If it's a tiny one, maybe I'm not in the right space. I need to move on from there. If it's a bigger one, then maybe I've got the right answer here, and that's what I need to create as a research project. So it's really from my own work and understanding that puzzle rather than the gap that's out there in the literature is the way I would think about it. Fahim बताइए, should I keep going and looking for others, or are we out of time?
मेरा ख्याल है let's take another 9 minutes and Murtaza Haider is here, so we can start the
Okay.
next session at 7:30. So 9 minutes.
Ethnographic research के बारे में सवाल है डॉक्टर कामरान का. This is a big question on causality. Is it appropriate to justify findings through causal or correlational claims? You may not use the language, and you're absolutely right. A lot of my anthropologist colleagues will tell me that that's not the world that they're in. But at the same time, when they will also tell me that their entire work is to understand the things that make the things happen in people's lives, is to understand behavior, is to understand their actions. And a lot of that sits in the space of causality. So whether you use the language of correlation or causality is very different from what is the logic of inquiry. What is it that you're trying to understand? So if you're trying to understand why an entire village changed the way it did informal dispute resolution after a certain event, you could do this as an anthropological study of dispute resolution in that village. Mera apna kaam was on villages in rural Punjab, using quantitative plus anthropological approaches. And a lot of the anthropological work was really just to understand the processes that I couldn't see through the quantitative work. But it helped me sort of bring that out. But people who do pure anthropology may also want to know, why did they change after that event? Why did they start doing dispute resolution differently? What led them to that? So in my world, that's very causal questions. And my anthropologist colleagues will argue that out as well, but not use the language, which is just fine as well. Rohan Anjum ka sawal hai, you emphasize moving from describing problems to finding causal explanations to finding solutions is what I was trying to move from just describing problems to figuring out how to solve it. How do we avoid mistaking correlation for causation when using mixed? That's exactly the challenge. That is exactly why I created that section, is to be very aware कि आप अपने सवाल के थ्रू क्या पूछ रहे हैं और क्या claim कर रहे हैं. आप causality define कर रहे हैं. And the reason why I'm saying this is what we see very often. The question sounds like it will get to causality. Then they pursue a methodology that cannot get them to causality, whether it's quant or qual or mixed, doesn't matter, but they cannot get to causality. And then they make claims on the basis of that at the end to again say that they have established something that allows them to make policy recommendations. And again, claiming some kind of causality कि अगर आप policy recommendation कर रहे हैं, so you're essentially saying to a policy actor, okay, if you make this change, something will change because of that in the way the country is developing or in the way that people are acting. And that is what we want to be careful about. If we really want to get there, then we have to be more careful and innovative about the ways in which we work with people. And my point in leaving you all at this point is to say, be innovative, push yourselves as far as you can, and really say, how do we get to the foundational problems of this policy issue? I don't want to just explore. I really want to understand, and through that understanding, be able to figure out what little part of this can we change. It doesn't have to be a big part. It can be those small parts that we can change. हमारा एक paper जो कि बहुत popular हुआ was about turning out more women to vote in the elections of Pakistan. Urban areas में औरतें वोट नहीं डालती. हमने घरों के लेवल पे एक इंटरवेंशन की, एक्सपेरिमेंटल रिसर्च था ये, और उसके थ्रू बहुत एक छोटी सी चीज़ हमने चेंज की, which was to talk to men about why it is important for women to participate. And so we did this experimentally, talking to different people, and the most effect that we saw was in the household where we talked to men and women together. But a lot of government programs, a lot of civil society programs actually just go and speak to women. To motivate women, they go and speak to women. And our research showed that to motivate women, you have to think about where the barriers lie. And the barriers often lie with men in the same households. And so it was a small part of it, but we saw a huge change in the women that came out to vote in the election after that. And so this is published work if you want to look at that, but it wasn't a huge part of the story that we changed. It was a small part of something that's happening in households, but through that we could speak to the larger area, make a contribution to this larger area of women's political participation.
जी मैम, thank you so very much. और it was a very informative session. We all felt a lot of energy, and I'm sure that we now have 857 participants in this meeting. They must be, like you see, they are clapping and they are throwing hearts. So an excellent presentation. We will definitely share your talk on our YouTube channel as well for the benefit of the audience also. And there are so many more questions. So you remain our lots of hearts, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. This was a real pleasure. Absolute honor.